Hi, welcome back to the Philly Landlord Guy. I am your host, Yuri Skripchenko, the guy with impossible last name. Just think of me as the Philly Landlord Guy. I am a certified property manager here in Philly and a licensed real estate broker. Rental market is shifting fast, and today I'm breaking down what every homeowner and landlord needs to know. We're here to share insights and experiences, not legal or accounting advice. Be sure to talk to your attorney, accountant, or professional advisor before making any decisions. Everyone's situation is different. Get the help that is right for you. If you have a for sale sign sitting in your yard and the phone isn't ringing, or if you recently pulled your home off the market because you didn't get the price that you want or didn't get much interest, this episode is specifically for you. We're currently in a weird market. According to Zillow, I have a report right here in front of me. Philadelphia is actually one of the hottest markets for 2026, and it's ranked number 6 in the nation after cities like Hartford, Buffalo, New York, Providence, San Jose, and then Philadelphia, Boston, Los Angeles, Richmond, and Milwaukee. But that doesn't mean easy. Home values here are rising slowly and forecasted for this year to rise just above 2%. Meanwhile, the inventory is starting to climb as that pandemic rate lock finally starts to crack. So this is a little bit weird market that we're seeing right now. Again, labeled as hot was the growth only 2%, and we're expecting that the inventory will rise 16% this year. Do not know what it's going to look like. Sellers are unlisting properties, though, at record high rates rather than cutting the prices. They are stuck, and today I'm going to show you the math of why renting your home might be the only way to save your equity instead of selling it at a lower price, especially if you have that pre-pandemic or pandemic level low mortgage interest. Let's get into the numbers that people usually hate to talk about. The cost to live Philly. So if you sell a house in Philly, let's say for $300,000, you are not getting a $300,000 check. Well, first, most of you most likely have some kind of mortgage that you will need to pay off. Then you will have your real estate agent that you need to pay a commission to. And in Pennsylvania, across the state, it averages about 5.8%, say 6%. So on $300,000 house, it's a little over $17,000 just in real estate agent commission. That may be split between the buyer and the seller, but all of that is negotiable. We used to have this commission split between one side and the other, but buyers are trying to push now as much as they can for the seller to bear the whole cost of the commission for selling the house. Then there is a silent killer that people usually don't talk about is the Philadelphia Real Estate Transfer Tax. As of July last year, the rate hit 4.578%. Again, usually we split that 50-50 between the buyer and the seller. So you're looking at another almost $7,000 out of your pocket. And then add title fees, prorated taxes, any insurance, any mortgage payouts, any fees that the mortgage is charging you. So you're losing about $25,000 to $30,000 just to walk away from the sale table. So if the market is flat and you sell now, you're essentially burning those 5 years of appreciation that you had to the property. This is why I tell people, if you cannot get your number, if the numbers do not make sense to you, do not sell, become a landlord and let someone else to pay off your mortgage while the market is catches up or while you building up your equity to sell at the price that you're looking for or to get that number that you're looking to get after the sale of the property. So I'm looking at the Bright MLS report for January 2026 right now, not just January, from January 25 to January 2026 right now. And across the whole city of Philadelphia in January, we had a little bit over 1,500 units listed, and the median sold price was $270,000, which is a little higher than what we saw last year. In January, we had a sale price of $245,000, which tells us that the prices are going up. But at the same time, it is an interesting shift that if you look at January 2025, we had listed median price at 260 and listed median sold price at 245. So we had this $15,000 discount on the sale versus this January, we have listed median price at 265 and the sold median at 270, which shows that we actually selling for more. But again, a lot of reports show that this is unprecedented time when sellers are delisting the properties, which did not even exist 2 years ago. Nobody was delisting. Now this is happening, and that's why the numbers may look that way. Also, another interesting fact is that the days on the market, it's almost identical as it was last year in January to this year. Last year, we had 65 days in the market to close. This year, we're at, in January, 66 days on the market to close. And interesting fact as well, that wait times for rentals are very similar. If I pull out the rental report, I will see that last January we had 83 days on the market for, again, this is median number across the whole city of Philadelphia. So we had 83 days on the market from the listing hitting the market to the closing date. This January, it was 70 days on the market. So on average, we had 62 days on the market for property to be rented. And we had on average 61 days on the market for an average Philadelphia property to be sold. So it's almost identical number, just 1 day difference. So whether you sell it or rent, you are looking at about the same 2 months wait period. So the question is, do you want a one-time check that is $30,000 short of the amount that you actually selling the house for, or do you want to have that monthly check that comes in every time and builds your wealth at the time when somebody is paying off your mortgage? And at the same time, these numbers are based on MLS report. That means that all of those listings were not for sale by owners or not for rent by owners. They were for sale by real estate agents, and the same for rent by agents or property managers, so by professionals. And that's how much time it took them to sell or rent your house. If you're doing it yourself as a for sale by owner or for lease by owner, it probably will take even longer time on the market. So before we get into another rent trends that we get from Zamper, I want to thank our sponsor, Trust Realty. If you're one of those homeowners realizing that selling today is the trap, you're probably thinking about renting, but you're worried about these headaches that come with the renting in Philadelphia. And the managing is complicated, between $69 for your rental license and mandatory lab certificates that you need to have, plus eviction diversion program that you need to know about. So Trust Realty is offering all of our listeners our free rental analysis. We will look at your property and get your real world numbers on what it will net as your rental. Email us at trustartrealty@philalandlordguy.com or click the link in the show notes or go to trustartrealty.com and click the link on the top to get in touch with us. Getting back to the numbers. So another report that I have here in front of me is Zamper's latest February 2026 report shows that daily rent actually about 16% lower than the national average, with a median of 1,600. But that doesn't mean much. It just means that our city is a little bit more affordable than the rest or the median in the country. And those prices are very significant. It depends on where you are in the city, which area, which neighborhood or zip code. If you are in university city, you might see rents climbing up. But if you're in neighborhoods like Palo Hill, they are softened a bit. Looking at the rental report from Bright, I can see that last January we had median listed rent at 1795, and the closed rent, meaning the amount that the list was signed for, was 1600. So it's almost $200 difference between listed price and leased price. This January, the numbers look a little bit better. The listing price is lower than last year listing price. It's 1750, which is $45 lower than last year. But closed price is 1650, which is $50 more than last year. So even though reports show that on average across the country we see rents decline, especially for one bedroom and two bedroom apartments, a little bit, or we just seeing very slight growth on the median for really in whole, we see that the rent still went up a little. Again, it's not a significant amount, but at least we're not in the negatives. So if you decide to pivot to a rental, you need to be prepared for selectivity shift in our tenants. In 2026, tenants are picky. They want appliances, they want washers and dryers, they want clean kitchens. And if your house didn't sell because it looked like 1985 inside, well, probably it's going to struggle on the rental market as well. So if you want to sell it at the top dollar, you need to make sure that your house looks clean and nice and have updated kitchens, bathrooms, appliances. And the same for the rental market. Tenants want to have the same amenities that owners looking for. And a lot of tenants want to be owners, but they cannot afford. They looking to rent something nice, something that they would have bought otherwise. You have to put in the work to get the either top dollar for the sale or top tier tenant. Another piece of advice for the accidental landlord, an accidental landlord is somebody who was not specifically planning on investment in real estate, and you just end up having this property that you decide to rent out. So the advice is that do not rent for 1 year. If you rent it for 1 year, you're not going to recoup anything. You will just lose the funds. We have a lot of these calls when people calling us and telling that, hey, I don't have any interest in my listing for sale right now. I want to take it off the market and put it up for rent for a few months. But when the season picks up, sometime in spring, when the weather gets better, I want to put it back for sale. So this is the worst idea that you can do. You will just lose money by doing this. Why? First, if you're selling your property now, probably it's already ready for sale. It's clean, everything was done, or you fix it up to the point that you were able to get your top dollar, and it's ready for a new owner. But now if you decide to rent it instead for just a few months, that means that the property again will sit on the market for a couple of months until you get a tenant. Then you get a tenant, and it's going to be even more complicated to find one because you will not lease it for a year. You will just do it month to month or whatever time frame you're putting in front of yourself. And also look up where we're talking about month-to-month lease protections. In Philadelphia, if you sign month-to-month lease, tenants have special protections, so you cannot just end the lease for any reason. You have to have specific reasons to end that lease. You find this tenant, you place them in your property, and now the property that was ready for sale is occupied by a tenant. You waited a few months and now it's the season for you to sell. You ask tenants to move out, they move out, you have all of the damages all that tenants leave behind. Even if it's a perfect tenant that you can find, just from people moving in and moving out, putting furniture in and out of your house, you will still have these little scratches or little indents in your wall and little things that you will need to fix. Plus the cost of finding that tenant and having them only for a few months, it will catch up and you will just lose money. It's not going to make you
any money. Plus, when you're switching from being a homeowner to a landlord, you will need to change your insurance policy. It's just a lot of headaches for you, and it's not worth it short term. Investing in real estate, it's a long-term game, and it takes time to get the money from renting your house. It takes time to start making money, or it takes time to understand what it actually means to be a landlord and how to make money in real estate. Even if you do it for 1 year, still not the best option. But if you're going to pivot and you actually want to rent out the house, you need to commit to at least 3 to 5 year cycle. Why? Because that's how long it takes to recoup that $30,000 that we were just talking about that you would have lost if you sold your property. So let the tenant pay down your principal and to let the market appreciate, even if it's just those 2% per year that we were talking about. By year 2028 or 9, you will be in a much stronger position to sell and walk away with real profit, not just with what's left over after the city and agents take their cut. Also, in those 3 to 5 years, you may realize that how much leverage you have as a real estate investor with your taxes, with everything that you receive for the property, and how that all plays out. You may even want to keep it and not sell it at all. So a lot of things that people do not understand when they haven't rented properties before, that even if you break even or getting only $50 a month as a cash flow, this is not all of your income. $50 a month is just a cash flow that you can put aside in case of emergencies or in case if something happens or when it happens to your property, and you to have reserves to fix those problems or be able to deal with the problems. So what people do not take in consideration is that principal that tenant is paying for you. So let's say your mortgage is $1,800 and your rent is $2,200. So after all of the commissions, property management fees, maybe you will get $100 monthly cash flow. But in that $1,800 that you will be paying to your mortgage company, you have your principal payment of maybe $500, maybe $1,500, depends on how old your mortgage is. And all of that is your income as well. When you go to sell, it just getting into your equity. When you go to sell, you will get it all back. And this is how you're able to recoup that $30,000 within 3 to 5 years, not just from the cash flow, monthly cash flow that you're going to put in your pockets. And most likely for most of you, even if you get that $100 cash flow from your property, so it's $1,200 a year. It's not a lot, but also you will not pay any taxes on that because all of the depreciation and other expenses that you can take out as a landlord on your property. So again, to summarize all of this, we're in a weird market. We do not know what it's going to look like. We have Euro still putting us as a top market in the US. We're number 6 top market in the US. At the same time, we see only about 2% increase in home values, and we're seeing increase in the number of listings that's coming on the market. So with all of that, we may see prices decline, but all of that also depends on interest rates. If we will see lower interest rate coming into the season, maybe we will have more activities, maybe we'll have buyers buying more or be able to afford more and buy more. But if not, and again, you're struggling to sell your property, think about, instead of just keeping it off market and do nothing to it, think about becoming a landlord, think about renting that property and having the tenant pay your expenses. If you found value in today's episode, please like and share and subscribe. Leave us a review. It helps us keep bringing this deep dives into theory, real estate market, and property management advice. If you have a specific property you're struggling to sell or rent out, reach out to us at trustartrealty@philalandlordguy.com. I'm Yuri Stripinchenko, the Female Landlord Guy. Keep managing right, and I'll see you in the next episode.